630 local nonprofit organizations from Sarasota, Manatee, Charlotte, and DeSoto counties are preparing to participate in the 2018 Giving Challenge presented by Community Foundation of Sarasota County. Starting on May 1st, online 24-hour Give Day allows people to support nonprofits and have their donors match $100 per donor for each organization they give to foundation. By approving 10 more proposed amendments to the November ballot, the Florida Constitution added more controversy to an election already featuring some epic battles. CRC wrapped up a year's work with a slew of proposals, schools, the environment, political approved late Monday night. Well, it is the end of an era. Twiggy, the water skiing squirrel, is 9 years old now, the oldest Twiggy of 8 versions of rodent skiers. The water-loving rodent's owner has decided to retire the show after nearly 40 years. Reporter Dale White will be at Manatee County Commission work sessions regarding updates to the sign ordinance, problem addresses, and the county's compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act. Nicole Rodriguez will cover the 6th Climate Symposium sponsored by BDH Associates today, and that's from 5 to 8:30 p.m. Sarasota County School Board meets after considerable upheaval following the publication of text between board member Eric Robinson and Sheriff Tom Knight. The board members will decide today whether district administrators will receive an average raise of 3.6%. Now, that is more than many of the teachers received in next year's contract negotiated with the union and superintendent. The union, for one, is upset about this. Now, of course, we are also following the story about the human remains found yesterday in a ditch in Newtown. Reporter Carlos Munoz will be at the scene interviewing neighbors, police, and more, and we will be updating this developing story throughout the day. And Carlos joins us now before he heads out to talk about this story. Good morning.
Good morning, Kathy.
This is a story I think most folks have been talking about over the last 24 or so hours because of its possible connection, the Jabez span, correct?
It's certainly close. I mean, Jabez Span lived in the 23 on 23rd Street, which is right up the road, just a couple blocks away. This was a 1900 block of Gillespie Avenue in a drainage canal where the human remains were found.
Okay, so going back to the Jabez case, now this has not been considered a cold case, correct? It happened, he disappeared last Labor Day.
Right, and I had actually spoken with Genevieve Judge, the police spokeswoman, earlier this year, and she said as of last month they had 10 new tips in 2018. Okay. None of them were found to be credible. Okay. They're still working on the case.
This case is Nancy Grace has pled for help from the public. We've had the reward is now up to $50,000. And this is a case that is, I think, so many people, when you think of a 14-year-old that's missing, went through hurricane season, I think almost everyone has been thinking about this over the past year.
I think so, and if you see the reaction from people yesterday, it's definitely on people's mind, especially in that Newtown area. There have been other incidents where human remains have been found in the past year. Yeah. I think up by Hillsborough, they had found a body up there, and people immediately went to Jabez Span. And I think it's something that people want closure for. They want to find out what happened to a 14-year-old boy who lives in their community. The family was out there yesterday.
I
spoke to his aunt briefly and a couple other people. And they are still holding out hope that they can find him. His mom was on Facebook Live yesterday, posted a video just saying, "Hey, hold on, we're still holding out hope that we can find Jabez Span."
What is the last we know of this case? Now, possibly his disappearance is tied to a murder?
Yes, the Travis Combs murder happened about 200 yards from where he lived on 22nd Street. You can see it right from their front yard. It wasn't far. He was reportedly coming out of a friend's house on 22nd Street when the Travis Combs murder happened, and was, according to an account, had said, "Oh my God, y'all killed him." That person is currently in custody, the person who gave that account. He's also recanted on that account, so we don't know what to believe at this point, but there is appears to be a connection between the Travis Combs murder, possibly that Jabez Span witnessed it, and his disappearance around Labor Day.
And also we had a pastor that might have had some information.
Yes, there was a Pastor Lumpkin in Newtown had received information from the public who had given him information, and he relayed that to the Sarasota Police Department. Pretty much everything he knew, from what I understand. It's not necessarily tied directly to the Jabez Spann case, but
Okay.
could be involved in the Travis Combs murder, possible information. Currently, today, the Sarasota Police Department said they're working with the District 12 Medical Examiner's Office to analyze those human remains that were recovered. They used cadaver dogs yesterday from Peace River. They used investigators, collected information, evidence, and they're providing that to, it would be Dr. Russell Veg at the Medical Examiner's Office.
Do you get a time frame of how long this might take?
We heard yesterday that anytime they analyze bone fragments, that these could take up to weeks to months.
Wow,
So
some more waiting.
It's going to be a very time-consuming process, and I'm sure it's going to be a little bit frustrating for both family and residents in Newtown.
I think so. And again, your focus today, what are you going after today?
Well, we're going back to that scene just to talk to people. From what I understand, it was a group of children who were hunting for turtles. They like to find these turtles and play in that drainage canal area. It's kind of between two industrial businesses,
Right, yeah.
but it's a primarily residential area. There's a lot of houses on Gillespie Avenue in that 1900 block, and these kids were playing there. They were at the scene and talked to a few people yesterday, and we're pretty stunned to find these fragments.
I would imagine.
From what I understand, these aren't the only time they've seen possible bones in there. They might have seen some a couple months ago, but
Didn't put together, I didn't find something
didn't
that
really
led
connect
them to
them. They
this.
thought it could be animals, or, there's a good portion of 17th Street that has some homeless camps on it, but it's unknown who this person is at this time.
Okay, all right. Well, much to get to today. Thank you so
Definitely.
much. And you'll find these stories and more throughout the day at heraldtribune.com.